Today, I'm attempting to do something I've never done before, and that's give you 50 PC tips in only 10 minutes. Now, honestly, I don't even know if I can pull this off. So if you like this type of content, definitely let me know by hitting the like button and dropping a comment below this video. But I'm hoping by the end of this video, you will learn at least one new tip. So without any further ado, let's get the timer on the video and let's see if I can pull it off. Coming in at tip number 1, I have a keyboard shortcut for you, Control-Shift-Escape. This shortcut will pull up the task manager. And while you're in there for tip number 2, be sure to go to the options section and make sure you check the option that says always on top. This will allow the task manager to always show up on top anytime you call for it. Also, while you're in there for tip number 3, scroll over to the startup tab. Make sure you disable any applications you don't want starting up automatically every time you turn on your PC. And along the same lines for tip number 4, you can go over to your search bar and you can type in background apps. Be sure to go through and turn off every application you don't want running in the background if you're not using it. Another quickie but a goodie is another keyboard shortcut, which is Alt-Tab. This simply allows you to switch between all the different applications you have open on your PC. It's a really quick way to get back to what you were just working on. If you're a Google Chrome user and you accidentally close out of a tab, all you have to do is hit Control-Shift-T and it will automatically pull back up that tab. Speaking of Google Chrome, and if you love dark mode, then make sure you install the extension called Dark Reader. It will automatically make any website you go to turn to dark mode. What can I do about all these launchers for my games? I have too many launchers. GOG Galaxy Launcher 2.0 or GOG Galaxy 2.0. It's a one-stop shop for all your gaming applications. Should I run my games in full screen or borderless window mode? Usually full screen is better optimized and allows for better game stability and better game performance overall. How much RAM do I actually need? Well, if you're truly only gaming, then even in 2022, 16 gigabytes is typically going to be enough. However, if you're doing anything outside of that, like content creation, then I highly recommend getting 32 gigabytes. Speaking of RAM, be sure to always check your motherboard's qualified vendor list, or QVL for short. Basically, this is a one-stop shop cheat sheet that shows you everything that is compatible with your motherboard. And that includes RAM, so be sure to check that before you buy RAM. By the way, one more tip on RAM. You know that number that's on the box that says 3600 megahertz or whatever it says? Yeah, you're not going to get that speed out of the box by default. Unfortunately, you will need to go into the BIOS and you will need to enable the overclocking profile. If you have an Intel CPU, this will be known as the XMP profile, but if you have an AMD CPU, this will be called the DOCP profile. Make sure you turn that on to get the full speed out of your RAM. What do you think of Xbox Game Pass for PC? I think it's a great service. I think it is very pro-consumer, and I think you get a lot of value for it, and I highly recommend you checking it out. Pre-built PC or a custom-built PC? I always recommend building your own PC, and the reason why is because it's super important for you to understand how your PC works and how all the components go together. When should I upgrade my PC? You should always upgrade your PC when you actually have a reason to upgrade your PC. Don't just upgrade because the latest and greatest components are out. If your PC is still fully capable of doing everything you originally bought it for, then there's not really a reason to upgrade unless you just want to. How powerful should my PC be? I would recommend starting with the games that you know you want to play and look at their minimum and recommended specifications. Then pick your parts based on that. Your budget will determine the rest. Is buying the best hardware really worth it? Honestly, no, not really. You are eventually going to run into a wall, and I like to call this the big diminishing returns wall. You could have saved $200, $300, $400, even $500 and still had a similar experience. Even if you do buy the latest and greatest, you're only going to be on top for maybe a year, if that. How do I make my PC faster? If you're running a traditional hard drive, then simply upgrade to a solid state drive and you will see a night and day difference by far. How do I get really cool wallpapers? Wallpaper engine on Steam. Why am I lagging in my games when I play online? Chances are you're probably playing on Wi-Fi, and that's why. I don't care how good your Wi-Fi is, it will always be inconsistent. The best thing you can do is to take an Ethernet cable and plug directly into your motherboard. And if for some reason you're still going to use wireless even after my previous tip, then at least look at upgrading your router, or what I would recommend doing is look into a mesh network. What is your favorite website when building a new PC? PC Part Picker. Where can I go to get free games? The Epic Games Store. They give away free games every single month. What about websites where I can get discounts on new games? greenmangaming.com. Highly recommended. AMD or Nvidia. If you're a Linux user, stay away from Nvidia. Definitely go AMD. If you're on Windows, but you're only a gamer and that is truly the only thing you're doing, then you can honestly buy whichever is cheaper at the time. And usually that's going to be AMD. Now, if you're a Windows user and you're doing more than just gaming, like content creation, for example, then you definitely need to go Nvidia. Nvidia also has better upscaling technology with DLSS, and it has better ray tracing support, at least for now. Should I run antivirus software? Proceed at your own risk, but no, I don't use it. I haven't used it in many years. The default Windows Defender is typically more than enough. Just think before you click on something and you're gonna be totally fine. Speaking of Windows updates, I would recommend looking into setting those on a schedule. The last thing you want to do is be in the middle of gaming and Windows tries to install a bunch of updates in the background. Speaking of the monitor, you know that number that's on the box, 144 frames per second or whatever it says? Just like the RAM, you're not going to get that out of the box by default. You will need to manually enable that refresh rate. Go to your desktop, right click and choose display settings. From there, look for advanced display settings. And from there, make sure you choose the highest refresh rate that your monitor can support. Under power options, set your power plan to high performance mode. Don't use those third-party applications that are like, we will clean your PC, we will optimize your PC, we will install your drivers for you. No, what they're going to do is install a whole bunch of bloatware on your PC. For a cleaner look on your desktop, you can hide all of your applications and just have a clean wallpaper. Additionally, you can set your taskbar to auto hide, so it will only pop up whenever you put your cursor over it. Now, if you have a CPU from the last year or two, like the AMD Ryzen 5800X, then you're probably noticing that your temperatures are a little bit higher than what you would like for them to be. You need to look into undervolting your CPU. I am personally getting the exact same performance, but my temperatures are about 30 to 35 C lower than they were previously on water. Everybody wants more power from their GPU. And one of the best ways of doing that is to overclock your GPU. I have an entire video on how to do this. I will have that pop up right now if you're interested in checking out how to overclock your GPU. You can actually set many applications to automatically run as an administrator by simply right-clicking the application, going down to properties and going to the compatibility mode. Check the option that says run as an administrator. Make sure you hit apply and then click OK. The next time you run that application, it will automatically launch as an administrator. Next up, if your graphics card can support it, you should enable hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. It honestly is a game changer. Now, all you have to do is go to your search bar, type in GPU, and it should pop right up. Now, while you're there, make sure you scroll down to the graphics performance preference. Here, you can manually point to any application or game of your choice and tell Windows to always provide the highest performance on that application while you're using it. Everybody wants to see how many frames they're getting in a game. Now, a lot of games natively support this in their UI settings now, so be sure to check there. But another quick way, if you're using an Nvidia graphics card, is you can open Nvidia GeForce Experience and go to the settings and go to the HUD layout, choose performance and click on FPS. How do I improve my frame rate in my games? The fastest way to improve your frame rate is to simply lower the resolution. Some games even support resolution scaling. You can set the scale to be 85, 90, 95% of 4K. This will still improve your frame rate, but still look better than 1440p. Now, assuming you're gaming at a resolution less than 4K and you don't want to lower your resolution any further, now you can turn to your in-game settings. And the fastest way to improve that is to turn off the Ultra preset. Drop it down to high, and don't tell me you weren't using Ultra, because I know you were. Speaking of frame rate, you need to put a cap on it. And what I mean is you need to limit your frame rate to match your monitor's maximum refresh rate. Why in the world would you ever have your graphics card render more frames than what you can possibly see? Save those resources and apply them somewhere else, like the Ultra preset. I know you want to. Make sure you go to your control panel and check all the programs you have the ability to uninstall. You may see something there that you did not authorize. A big example of this is Patriot Viper RGB software. BitWit did an entire video about this, so massive shout out to him. So just make sure everything that's installed on your PC is what you want to be there. Do you know any helpful communities for someone new to PC? Yes, you came to the right place. You can join my Discord. It's very small right now, but the people we do have in there are incredibly nice. They're easy to talk to, and they love talking about PC building and PC gaming. So feel free to join and ask anything you want to ask. Stop the timer. Did I make it? I don't know, and I won't know until I edit this video, but I hope you found value in this video. Leave a comment and let me know what you learned from the video. Surely out of 50 tips, you learned something. If you like this type of content, hit the like button because it goes a long way in helping me out. If you're new here, get subscribed, and until next time, E-Rock out.